This is Mark Basker from Around the Clock Games, and this is a gameplay tutorial for Bumblebees, the nest building game. First thing I'm going to do is just show you a basic setup of the game. So you're going to want to each player is going to want to have a turn sequence card that shows all the rules in order for each turn. Everybody's going to want to have one of each bee. You have a worker bee, a nest worker, a drone, and a queen. And also you'll notice that all of the bees at the start of the game are placed on side A as opposed to side B. Also, each player is going to have one nest mat, and they're also going to have a nest origin card placed at the top of that mat. For this game I'm going to be playing solo, so I also have a skunk mat with the tracker. And I have a resource tracker mat with a wooden token for each of the resources. And I have the event card deck and the nest origin or nest expansion deck. Starting the game, the first thing that I'll do is I'll place the tracker token on turn 1. You'll only want to do this if you're playing a solo game or if you're playing a timed game. And I'm going to draw my first event card. So it says all players lose 1 honey. Now normally that would be bad, but since this is turn 1 and I don't have any resources yet, it doesn't affect me. And so the first thing I do is I draw an event card. Then the second thing I do is generate resources. Now even though this card says on turn 1 I'm going to generate 1 egg, 2 bee bread, and 2 honey, and 3 wax, it's still going to generate 2 honey because I drew that card before those resources were generated. So you don't generate your resources on turn 1 until after the event card is drawn. So basically that first event card, even if it has a negative impact, it's not really going to affect any of your starting resources. So as I take a closer look at this nest origin card, it says I'm going to generate 1 egg, 2 bee bread, 2 honey, and 3 wax. So those are my starting resources for the game. And the whole purpose of the game is to expand my nest 6 times total. So this is my first expansion. So I only need to get 5 more at this point. And I also want to have a new queen made from my colony. So I haven't done that yet. So as we look at the turn sequence card, it says that we generate our resources. Next we're going to untap. So all my bees are untapped. This is turn 1. I haven't done anything yet. So next I'm going to do my first action. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is start making some additional resources. So the easiest way to do that would be to use my worker bee. And I have a few options that I can decide to use. So with my with my worker bee, I'm actually going to flip it over, and I could only flip 1 bee card over per turn. So I can't flip any other cards over this turn to do side B. But for this I'm going to make 3 pollen. So I'll just move my tracker token, 3 pollen. And I'm also going to use another ability. You get to do 2 actions per turn as it shows on the turn sequence card. This is my second action. I'm going to use my queen bee, and I'm going to use what's called expand the nest. So to expand the nest, you draw 1 nest expansion card. In this case it is the stockpile card. So if I wanted to make that stockpile, I'd actually need 3 bee bread, which I do not have yet. And I need 3 wax, which I do have. So I won't be able to expand my nest this turn. So I'm going to keep this in my hand. and I'm going to have to wait until my next turn to do anything else. So now my turn's over. So I'm going to move on to my second turn. Draw another event card. So this is a rainstorm. It says all players must use Drone B's homeostasis action this turn, which is actually something I don't want, but I don't have a choice. So next I'm going to untap all of my bees. And since I have to use the Drone Bee's homeostasis ability, that's my first action. Now I'm left with only one more action. So one thing I can do is I can flip my nest worker over, and I can gain 1 bee bread and 1 wax, and it's going to cost me 2 pollen. So I'll pay that 2 pollen cost. I will gain 1 bee bread and 1 wax. Now the reason I did that was so next turn I'll be able to use my stockpile card and attach it to my nest, which will generate 1 bee bread each turn. So I'm going on to turn 3 now. I'll draw another event card. It says all players lose 1 action this turn. So again, kind of like the homeostasis ability where I had to tap the drone bee. This turn all I will be able to do is 1 action. So I'm going to untap all of my bees, and the 1 action I am going to do is I'm going to use my queen bee to expand the nest. So I'm going to gain 1 wax and draw another nest expansion card. This turn I drew a tidy nest which costs 5 wax, 3 nectar, and 3 pollen. So I can't use that right now, but what I can do is I can use the stockpile card to expand my nest. And even if I had the resources to do 2 of these, I can only expand 1 at a time. And if I had the resources to expand, I can only expand when I use the queen bee's action to expand the nest. So I'm going to expand my nest at the cost of 3 bee bread, so I'll be down to 0 bee bread, but at the start of each turn I am going to generate 1 bee bread for free. And it costs me 3 wax also, so I slide this tracker back. That's the end of this turn. It's now my 4th turn, and as you can see I don't have a lot of eggs yet. I don't have a lot of resources yet, but hopefully that's going to change. So I'm going to play a few more turns, and I'll probably let you know at about turn 12 how things are going. Alright, I'm back now. It's my 12th turn. I've expanded my nest a few more times. I still don't have a new queen. I do have 6 eggs, but I'm going to need 8 eggs before I can make a new queen, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pull this one out or if I'm going to lose it. So I'm going to see here, need to draw my event card this turn, gain 1 nectar, untap all my bees. And so what I really need to do is I need to get at least 8 eggs, and I need to try to expand my nest pretty quickly. I don't have a whole lot of resources to do that, so it's going to be pretty difficult at this point. But I guess the first thing I need to do is try to get some more honey so I can make some more eggs. So I have quite a bit of nectar. I have 7 nectar, so I can make 2 honey right here by spending 5 nectar. That'll go down to 2, but I'll gain 2 honey and 2 more wax. And I guess I'm gonna try to expand my nest again, see if I could get something useful. So I gain 1 wax, and I got a brooding bees card, which is actually very useful because it will generate 1 egg each turn. So I'm gonna expand my nest with this, so that'll cost me 3 wax, 3 eggs. So now this turns over. At turn 13 now. So this is really coming down to the wire. All players gain 1 nectar, 1 pollen, and 1 wax. So I need to generate my resources. I think I actually forgot to do that last turn. But I make 1 bee bread. I'll make some nectar from my pheromones card. And I make an egg from my brooding bees. Untap all my cards. And I'm gonna make some more honey. Spend all of it. And I need to make some eggs very quickly. So I'm gonna flip my queen over to side B. I can make 2 eggs at a time with her by spending 3 honey, 3 bee bread, and 3 wax. So that'll give me 2 eggs. I'll be at 6 eggs. And it looks like I'm probably gonna just fall just short unless I draw some really lucky cards. This is my last turn. Lose 2 eggs. So that's basically going to be the game there, because I'm not going to be able to come up with this deficit at this point. So I'm down to 4 eggs. I'm still 1 chamber short of having 5 nest expansion or 6 nest expansions. I'm not going to be able to make a new queen. So I've lost this game. The game is pretty difficult on solo. I probably win at least maybe 30% of the time. So it's very challenging. I actually prefer it that way though, because it's more fun and rewarding when you actually do win. But since it's turn 14 and I'm not going to be able to win this game, it looks like the skunk has destroyed my nest. So thank you for looking at this video tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you all consider supporting Bumblebee's a nest building game. Thank you very much.